Cyber resilience and internet safety at early level, embedding the experience and outcome through a practical, play-based approach. This session aims to support you and equip you with the knowledge and confidence to embed cyber resilience and internet safety at early level through a practical, play-based approach. This session will clarify what the experience and outcome means in the context of play and what this might look like in your own settings. This session will cover what are early level learners' first online experiences, what are the opportunities and challenges, links to national guidance, understanding the experience and outcome, where cyber resilience and internet safety links with health and well-being, literacy and numeracy, practical approaches to embedding cyber resilience and internet safety through play, resources available to enable practitioners to support learners and parents and carers, child protection and reporting, and resources and further support for your own continued lifelong professional development. A link to the slides are also available on the DigiLearn Scot blog. What are young children's first experiences with digital technology and exploring the online world? Digital technology is now a huge and integral part of our daily lives. Do we and do children make the distinction between online and offline life, or is it just life? Has it increased in recent times where we have relied on digital technology to remain connected with our families and loved ones? Is the digital technology the children have access to internet enabled? And if so, where do they go online? The emergence of new apps and games can make the internet feel overwhelming and hard to keep up with, but there are actually only a limited number of functions apps and online platforms can have. If we break it down into 3 simple categories, it can help us understand what children are doing online and what the opportunities and challenges are. Once we identify the challenges, we then know what to try to do to mitigate them. The 3 categories are consuming, creating, and communicating.
We have developed the Cyber Resilience and Internet Safety Risk Roadmap to support educators to assess and evaluate where their children and young people are in their cyber resilience and internet safety learning. The roadmap illustrates how internet users, including our learners, travel from simply consuming content to creating as they become more literate and confident using the technology before communicating. This can be useful to understand where the learners are so that you can design the learning to be relevant and meaningful to your learners. For example, younger learners are more likely to consume content than to communicate online simply because of their age, their literacy skills, or their access to devices and online platforms. This is not exclusively the case, but it helps you to understand better where your learners are and what the learning might look like.
Consuming. Digital technology allows us to access information at the click or tap of a finger. If children are enthusiastic to find an answer to a particular topic, we no longer have to wait until we can access a book to help them to research and find the answers. We no longer have the problems of a scratched CD or a cassette tape where the tape is all pulled out and tangled, because now we can instantly stream music. Scotland's national policy for early years, Realising the Ambition, talks about digital technologies providing opportunities for us to design unique learning spaces for children. Bringing resources and experiences virtually into settings can lead learning well beyond what was originally planned. There are so many wonderful opportunities for young children to learn through virtual environments, and that has bridged a gap in more recent times. For example, accessing recordings of their practitioners from nursery, or grandparents reading them a story, or joining live streams with BookBug.
Consuming content links to information literacy. We are learning from the content we are consuming. In the reading part of the Literacy and English curriculum, we are laying the foundations for understanding the difference between fiction and non-fiction texts. And in relation to online content, we are encouraging children to begin to develop awareness of credible information and misleading content or fake news. From as early on as the early level, we can encourage children to be open-minded and ask questions. In the listening and talking part of the Literacy and English curriculum, we encourage children to investigate and analyse to make sense of information. And there are stories such as ChildNet's Detective DigiDuck to help start and support the conversations about fact and fiction.
Other examples might include children taking part in music festivals and dancing along to musicians playing pieces of music at their request to play faster or slower, and joining video calls to the National Museum of Scotland to find out more about dinosaurs, and by taking part in live Q&A sessions like the children are here in the photograph on the right with a world famous astronaut, all of which we would not have been able to experience without access to the technology. The opportunities the internet provides for young people to learn is endless, but it must be used with caution. We have some key questions to ask ourselves. What content can they see and hear? And is it developmentally appropriate? We must remind ourselves that the internet is a public and open place where anyone can share and post content. As practitioners and caregivers, we must be proactive in minimising the risk of children accessing inappropriate content or violent or sexual content or other extreme material. We need to think about the sites we are using. Are they designed for children? Are the devices protected with developmentally appropriate web filters? Are we using a child's profile to log in? Are they using a parent's device? Can they leave the app or site and access another app or site by themselves? Can they open a tab with inappropriate content? Those sort of things are our responsibility. However, it is also equally important to talk to young children about the things they might see online in order to develop resilience. For example, talking about things that can sometimes pop up by surprise that they might see and hear. Many of the online safety resources that are available for young children all have the same key message about seeking the help of an adult if they come across something online that frightens or scares them. Often young children are accessing a parent's device and can easily open an app designed for an adult, and many young children have devices of their own. Are the apps and content they have access to designed for children and adults? Age restrictions should be taken seriously, and we will come back to this point very soon. If you would like to know more about young children's media use, there is current research by Ofcom and it's linked in the slide notes. Creating. As well being young consumers of content, young children are also creators of content and can spend time creating virtual worlds and capturing their thoughts, ideas and imagination through a variety of apps and online platforms. Again, this has really helped to bridge a gap during more recent times. Digital technology has enabled children to capture learning, capture their thoughts, feelings and ideas, express language and meaning all through mixed media, such as photo and video, whiteboard recording apps, simple animation creation such as stop motion, puppet apps that enable voice recordings to be added, or lip syncing apps such as Chatterpix all play a part in young children's first experiences of creating content. Digital technology enables children to create texts and provides opportunity for enjoyment and choice. The digital tools in the clips here are giving children more opportunity to share experiences, feelings, ideas and information in a way that communicates their message, whether it be through a recorded drawing, a voice recording, a cartoon, an animation, or acting out a scene using special effects such as green screen. This all encourages expressive language and communication, so very important just now during the recovery curriculum. In the first video, we have an example of how a small group of children worked in collaboration to create a fire pit safety digital book, like a child-friendly risk assessment. And in the picture on the right, we have a group of children retelling nursery rhymes and adding their own twists and illustrations and bringing their animations to life with voice recordings.
Sit on the bed and stay in the circle. We put the fire out, we must get water. Give it a fire starter. 2, 1, go! Baba, what we love you. Yes sir, Viva sir. On to the restaurant, on to the Yes sir.
Key questions to be asking ourselves when young children are creating content. Do we have consent and permission? And what is appropriate and safe content to be creating? In terms of health and well-being, there are very obvious links here to social well-being around responsibility and respect for one another. It's always good practice to encourage children to ask for the permission of another child or adult before taking their photo, or asking or inviting them to be in their video. This helps children to develop their awareness of consent and equips them with the confidence to be able to say, "No thank you," or "I'm not comfortable with that photo, can you please delete it?" Other important conversations to have are what sort of content is appropriate to capture, and develop an awareness of what is private information and what is for sharing. For example, agreeing that it's not appropriate to capture media near the bathrooms because some parts of our bodies are private. Or if someone has fallen and is upset, or if someone is mid-bite into their lunch. It's also important to talk about appropriate language and be respectful of the feelings of others when creating content too. Communicating. So once we have captured all of our mixed media content, what do we do with it next? We might try to communicate it by sharing it out with the devices to an online space. This might be through an online journal platform or a blog or via social media. Many early learning and childcare settings use QR code, quick response codes, to share the learning the children have captured with their families in a much more instant way. This all varies depending on the local authority or organisation you're part of and what the policy and permissions are for communicating information. Capturing learning and important messages in this way allows children to revisit learning, to consolidate, achieve depth and reshape their learning, and also allows practitioners and parents and carers to see through the eyes of the child. Again, this has really bridged a gap during recent times when it has not been as flexible for parents and carers to come into settings, or for practitioners to observe learning and have those all-important opportunities to listen with your eyes and listen with your ears. Sketch note from page 48 of Realising the Ambition. We have slightly more key questions to be asking ourselves when communicating information. Does the app or site have communication features, for example, chat, video chat or live streaming? What is appropriate and safe content for communicating and sharing? Has everyone involved given permission and understood where content will be shared? Where is the content being shared? Who is the content being shared with? And can anyone respond to the content, for example, via comments or likes, or be able to reshare it? Are we aware of the apps that enable you to connect with a stranger via chat or video call? Do we have FaceTime or video calling enabled on the devices that the children have access to? And can they accidentally dial a number or accept a random call? And what about live streaming? Many social media apps have this feature built in, and at the tap of a finger you can be broadcasting with video and audio to an unknown audience. As we have mentioned, it is really good practice to encourage children to express their right to have a photograph deleted and to develop understanding around consent when media is being captured. It has become very normal to have your life digitally documented, from the scan photo before you're born being shared on social media to your very first day of school. Children are accepting of this and trusting of adults and need to be supported to understand that they have the right to protect their identity and become aware of their digital footprint from as early on as possible. Do you involve children in the process and select content together? This is where you can have conversations that will help children to develop an understanding of why it is important to keep certain information private. For example, when later on in life they are learning about protecting their location and sensitive information, such as dates of birth and home addresses. As well as seeking permission from parents and carers, which will differ subject to your local authority or organisation. When capturing content, it is important to remember that the children are aware of where it will be shared and who will see it to ensure that they are comfortable with this too. Does everyone involved understand what an online journal or a blog is? Do you clearly explain this? And who is responsible for publishing and posting content? Do you have a peer reviewing system to ensure those without permission do not accidentally appear online? We also need to be aware of the types of apps that track and share locations. Do we want to be sharing out our exact location when posting photos of the forest area that we visit on the same day each week? Does the online space we are communicating on allow comments to be posted? And do we have control over this? Can we choose to moderate, to accept or ignore? And who is responsible for moderating the comments once our content has been shared? Can it be reshared beyond the source? And have you explored all the privacy settings? Sites such as NetAware can help us find out more about apps and what features they have, for example, if they have location sharing or chat or live streaming. But it is also important to encourage children to have open and honest conversations with the adults they trust about what they're doing online. Showing that we are interested in a particular app and sensitively asking questions about it, or asking to join in and play the game from the offset, can help build up those positive relationships that will encourage children to talk about what they are doing online and come to us if they have any fears or worries or concerns. We must also take into account how we behave online and remember that we are role models. Earlier we mentioned the importance of age restrictions. They exist to make us aware of the type of content in a game or app, and it is important that parents and carers are aware of this. Games and apps enable children to share an incredible amount of information about themselves, have conversations with friends, and also potentially provide contact with people they don't know. For example, some of the animation creating apps aimed at children have a share to YouTube feature. That could mean at the click of a button, children are able to share potentially sensitive information onto a hugely public online space without parents knowing. PEGI, the Pan-European Game Information, is an age rating system designed for gaming. It includes age ratings and content indicators to show the type of content included in the game, for example, violence, sex, discrimination and drugs. Parents and carers should be informed of the PEGI rating system, as well as other age ratings from the apps in the app stores, so they can make informed choices as to whether they want their children to use them or not. So with all of that in mind, what can we do as practitioners to ensure children are safe online? Cyber resilience and internet safety is everyone's responsibility, not just the digital leader of your organisation, if you have one, and it is not learning that takes place in isolation or as one-off event type focus days or focus weeks. In any type of play experiences on offer, whether it be child initiated or adult initiated, in the moment or a planned provocation, we risk assess. Is the area safe? Is the equipment safe? We always take cognizance of any associated risks to ensure children are safe from harm or will be adequately supported to manage and learn from those risks themselves to develop resilience. For example, are there safety goggles available at the woodwork area? Are there helmets for the bikes? Is there water by the fire pit? Are our devices set up with appropriate web filtering for children of this age group? And the continuous health and well-being and personal safety messages we reinforce in everyday learning. Hot water, hand washing, crossing the road, keeping the garden gate locked, seeking an adult's help and treating others with kindness. As skilled practitioners, we are aware of the need for children to develop resilience, and we know when to step back to allow them to direct their learning and learn from mistakes. Section 4.4 of Realising the Ambition reminds us the role of the adult as a delicate balance of supporting, enriching and proposing on the one hand, and keeping back to give children space and time to build their own ideas on the other. So are all the apps and sites agreed by your local authority or organisation, or have you trialled them and risk assessed them before the children have access to them? Because remember, apps aimed at children can sometimes have inbuilt features such as share to YouTube. So how do we do this with cyber resilience and internet safety? What guidance is there and what resources are out there to help? Our national policy and curriculum documents tell us digital should be at the heart of good learning and teaching. The 2016 review and refresh of the technologies, experiences and outcomes, and also creation of the benchmarks made way for digital literacy, previously known as ICT to enhance learning, and sits within the technologies area of our curriculum. Quality Indicator 3.3 and how good is our early learning and childcare, developing creativity and skills for life and learning, digital skills, talks about settings having clear rationale for developing children's skills in using and exploring digital technologies, including staying safe online. A feature of highly effective practice states, children are enabled to take risks, learning in safe, secure and supportive environments where they are expected to make decisions and where their contributions are valued. We have already mentioned links to the curriculum, including health and well-being and literacy in English, and realising the ambition. And other national policy that may be of interest to you is the Digital Learning and Teaching Strategy for Scotland, Cyber Security Strategy for Scotland, and the STEM Strategy, all linked in the slide notes. Let's now have a look at the cyber resilience and internet safety experiences and outcomes that sit within digital literacy and the technologies curriculum. Starting at the early level, the foundations are laid for understanding various types of cyber threats and what we can do to keep ourselves safe, right through first, second, third and fourth level. We are going to look at the early level experience and outcome now in more detail. Are you familiar with the benchmarks? They are there to help support professional judgment if a child is secure in the experience and outcome. Both benchmarks in the early level experience and outcome are about our behaviour and the role we play in society to keep ourselves and others safe online. Both benchmarks are about internet safety. The second benchmark is where we begin introducing cybersecurity. As well as our behaviours, we are looking at other measures we can implement to further protect us online. At the early level, we begin raising awareness of the importance of passwords.
Let's have a closer look at the early level cyber resilience and internet safety experience and outcome. What does the first benchmark say? Demonstrate an understanding of appropriate behaviour and language in the digital environment. As we have mentioned, there is very obvious links to health and well-being here. Mental and emotional well-being, friendships, and seeking an adult's help. In the sexual health and sexuality section of the health and well-being curriculum, we are learning about appropriate behaviours, body awareness, privacy, and seeking help. In relation to physical changes, this is where we start to develop awareness of positive body image. And of course, the importance of kindness and consequences and being able to identify and express some emotions appropriately, for example, happy and sad, and understanding how they can affect our behaviour.
So, as we have mentioned, there is a very obvious links to health and well-being here. Mental and emotional well-being, friendships and seeking adults' help. And where does this all start? Adults as role models. Are we remembering to ask for consent when capturing media? Repetition of personal safety messages. Encouraging open, honest relationships with trusted adults about things that scare or upset them. Talking about belongings and who they belong to. Who created them and if we have permission to use them. This is where we begin understanding awareness of copyright. Many of this can be reinforced through everyday conversation. And there are an array of online stories, animations and storybooks that support this too. We will look at the resources soon. We believe learners should have clear and simple messages about internet safety. The apps and platforms they use and the behaviours that come with those changes all of the time. And this is why our internet safety message is safe, smart and kind. Children and young people should learn how to keep themselves safe and their reputation safe online. They are beginning to develop an understanding of how the internet works and how to use this to their advantage, whether that is for life, learning or work. Our learners should be kind to one another and promote kindness to others, both face-to-face and online. Now let's have a look at the second benchmark. Demonstrate an understanding of the importance of passwords. How many young children do you know that can unlock a device? They may not remember the actual number combination, but can they remember the sequence to press the numbers in or the pattern to draw? Think back to the content we were creating and communicating earlier and the importance of having the conversations about protecting information that is private. How can we do that? For example, we have some lovely photos on our devices, but we don't want to share them yet until we have permission. What can we do to keep them safe? How can we make sure it is only ourselves that can access them? And how will the device know that it is us accessing them? Password protection. Where are passwords and security mechanisms in our environment? Can we go on a scavenger hunt to identify them, just like we do when we're looking out for environmental print in the setting, the home and the local community? This benchmark is about understanding the importance of them, not a higher level of how they work, including encryption. We lock our doors in our houses to keep us safe and to keep our belongings safe. Can we transfer that understanding to other contexts through play? We provide padlocks and keys in numeracy provocations and maths provocations. Have we used the padlocks with the number combinations for an added challenge? Can we create a password of our own? The national advice from the National Cybersecurity Centre for the UK is clear on what makes a stronger password. 3 random words. Can we do this by randomly selecting and using visuals, labels, small world resources from feely bags? There are ways around this with pre-readers. What happens if someone else guesses our password? What do we do? How do we get over this? We need to check our belongings are safe. We ask for help. We create an even stronger password. You can then have some fun testing the password examples on How Secure Is My Password. The link is provided in the notes. By supporting children to type in their 3 random words to find out how long it can take for their password to be guessed. The longer it takes, the stronger the password. Again, there are storybooks to support these conversations. The book Monkey Cow tells the story of a little girl who has baked a cake and protected it with a password to keep it safe. But then she tells everyone she meets the password combination. I won't spoil the ending. Again, adults as role models talking about the importance of reinforcing these messages and having ongoing conversations will help children to develop an understanding of the importance of exploring, playing and communicating using digital technology safely and securely. There is a link to the storybook in the notes also. This part of the experience and outcome is where parts of the early level numeracy and maths curriculum overlap. In number and number processes, we are experimenting with numbers to create sequences. We are exploring time by comparing the time it can take for a password to be guessed. A shorter time equals a weaker password, and a longer time equals a stronger password. In data analysis, we are categorising and sorting information in terms of private information and information we want to share, and classifying data that makes us and our passwords unique. For example, a password is what tells a device that you are you. How do we tell the difference between one another? And think of the health and well-being curriculum again here too. We have a specific eye or hair colour, face shape, unique fingerprint. These all link to modern devices and how they use biometrics to recognise individuals. Have we ever taken hand printing and fingerprinting a step further and had a closer look at what makes our prints unique? Scottish Government definition of cyber resilience is: cyber resilience is being able to prepare for, withstand, rapidly recover and learn from deliberate attacks or accidental events in the online world. Cybersecurity is a key element of being resilient, but cyber resilient people and organisations recognise that being safe online goes far beyond just the technical measures. By building understanding of cyber risks and threats, they are able to take appropriate measures to stay safe and get the most from being online. And we have found it helpful to break down cyber resilience into 3 key words as well: recognise, react, recover. At early level, this means developing understanding that we have private things and private information that we want to protect, why we need to keep it safe and how we can do that. Recognise. Oh, my password has been guessed or cracked. React. I need to get help. Recover. Let's create a new, better, stronger password and ensure our information is better protected. So why is this all so important? Why are we providing these experiences and having these conversations just now? From early level, children need opportunities to develop the appropriate knowledge, understanding and behaviours to become more resilient online for their present and future lives. People in Scotland are increasingly relying on online services to maintain their independence, to access services, connect with families, their communities, and manage their health and well-being. Being resilient online is therefore becoming increasingly important. As we have said, the online world is full of many wonderful learning opportunities, but at the same time there are challenges. The older children become, and the more their time spent online increases, the more they may begin to explore other apps and sites, and the more challenges they will face. We can see when children physically move from one area to another in the playroom. For example, if they go over to the woodwork, we can see if they've put their goggles on or not, and might require a gentle reminder. But are we aware of what they're doing online when they have this access? Can we see what they're doing? When we provide that access, it is our responsibility to ensure their safety. We have looked at consuming, creating and communicating. And as children grow and they develop their reading and communication skills, their interests in friending and chatting, gaming and live streaming may also develop too. And this is where the foundations of cyber resilience and internet safety at early level will support children and young people to recognise and withstand potentially challenging situations. By being able to differentiate between private and public information and having the confidence to say no to being photographed or sharing photographs, and having an awareness of how to protect their information just now, will all help work towards creating a culture of internet safety and cyber resilience throughout our education and lifelong learning system. So most of what we have covered in this session does not require resources. We are taking a common sense, practical approach to cyber resilience and internet safety and ensuring that the conversations are ongoing. We have mentioned that there are an array of resources available that can support the conversations too, and for ease of access, we have collated a collection of links and online resources into this sway. It is practitioner discretion around what resources you choose, and you know your learners best and what resources will support their current interests. In this sway presentation, we have collated some of the resources that are currently available and most appropriate for early level learners. There is a mixture of animations, online books and songs freely available from organisations such as CEOP, UK Internet Safety Centre, London Grid for Learning and ChildNet International. It is a live link that is continually added to and can be shared across your networks. Please feel free to get in touch via the contact provided at the bottom of the sway to add any suggested resources. Any concerns you have about children in your care or any child-related incidents are reported in line with your organisation or local authority child protection procedures. Incidents of an online nature are no different. That may be through completing a wellbeing concern form or reporting the matter to the designated member of staff for child protection or contacting your local social work child protection team or duty officer. And there are also a few different places in which you can report concerns and seek help online. However, you must always follow your organisation and local authority child protection guidelines. Agencies such as CEOP, part of the National Crime Agency, have a reporting system with experienced child protection advisors that can offer you help. Concerns that CEOP investigate include: you suspect a child is a victim of abuse, images stored on private devices such as mobile phones, tablets or computers, text-only conversations on chat sites with no images, and peer-to-peer file transfer programs or torrent services. There is also a reporting service from the Internet Watch Foundation where you can anonymously and confidentially report child sexual abuse pictures or videos on the internet, non-photographic child sexual abuse images. The Internet Watch Foundation can also remove images of child sexual exploitation from the web. Please note these services are not to seek support for online bullying, and just to reiterate, local authority and organisation child protection procedures must always be followed first. For other concerns you have, you can seek advice from the Report Harmful Content site. Protecting yourselves as practitioners and businesses. There are a handful of steps you can take to minimise the potentially costly and disruptive effect of a cyber incident and better safeguard the children in your care as well as your business's finances and reputation. A recording from a short seminar by the National Cyber Security Centre is available via our blog and is for anyone working within the early learning and childcare sector in Scotland. Supporting parents and carers to understand what cyber resilience and internet safety looks like at the early level is crucial. The messages and conversations will have much more impact if children are hearing them in the home environment too. Practitioners working with early level learners can be at an advantage and normally have more contact with parents and carers than other practitioners that work with older learners do. So it's really important that we harness this and do our best to ensure parents and carers are equipped with the knowledge of how to support their children. We can reinforce the same messages from the ongoing conversations that we have with children with their parents and carers. And many of the organisations that we mentioned in this way also have resources to support parents and carers. Many have tips and hints on securing resources to make sure that they are safe as well. Please do feel free to reuse and adapt any of these slides, links and session recording and share them with the parents and carers you are working with. Please also be aware of the Cyber Scotland website where you can access cyber advice and guidance, support careers information, incident reporting and a range of resources, including up-to-the-minute cyber services information across Scotland. You may also be interested in finding out more about the Digital Schools Awards for Scotland. It is a national awards scheme to promote, recognise and encourage a whole school or centre approach to the use of digital technology. There is also a special recognition badge for cyber resilience and internet safety. And now for a final thought. When children are interested in a topic, some of the time this might include learning about the associated job role or the career involved. People who help us can often be of interest at early level, but have we ever considered careers in the digital industry or careers in cyber security as people who help us? For facts and information about careers in the digital industry, current and relevant just now in Scotland, and for more information about a variety of cyber careers, please see digitalworld.net. To end our session, I think we can agree that the experiences of digital technology that young children have in today's modern world may be very different to the experiences you and I had. The digital technologies industry is the fastest growing sector in Scotland. As you can see from the bottom bullet points, there is an underrepresentation of females in this industry. Please visit the Improving Gender Balance and Equalities resources that are available on the National Improvement Hub, full of practical support and advice for how you can address this with the young learners you are working with. To access future webinar sign-ups and resources and content from the digital skills team at Education Scotland, please visit the DigiLearn Scot blog. You can also access webinar recordings on the Digital Skills YouTube channel. And follow and engage with us on Twitter at DigiLearnScot. We hope you have found this session useful. Thank you for watching.